Hey, you're hanging out in the Link Up Lounge. I'm Tiffany Mason.
And I'm Donna Ruppel. Around here, we believe success isn't just about what you know, it's about who you link up with. This is your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Donna, it blows my mind that the two of us have over 30 years of combined networking experience.
I know! We've built businesses, expanded networks, and created unstoppable momentum, all through the power of strategic connections.
AKA networking. And now we're here to guide you to do the same, starting today.
So let's dive in, connect, and start making moves you didn't even know were possible.
Welcome back to the Link Up Lounge. I'm Tiffany Mason of Virtual You, the boutique podcast management agency. And I'm here with my co-host, Donna Ruppel, your Nakati real estate expert.
This is your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities. And today we're looking at behind-the-scenes systems that can help strengthen your network. The real magic happens behind the scenes in how you track, nurture, and prioritize your relationships. It's not just about going out to an event, meeting people, shaking hands, exchanging business cards. It's about constantly showing up for them over time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, relationships, they don't grow by accident. They grow by intention, and a few small systems can really make a difference. So today we're going to be talking about the simple behind-the-scenes systems that keep your networks alive and strong. So Donna, let's start with some tools. You don't need to have a fancy setup, to manage your network. A simple spreadsheet can be powerful: names, contact information, last time you connected, and a note about what matters the most to them. I know I've used a CRM in the past, and it was very effective to put in, has a dog. Like I find with podcast management, I don't follow up nearly as often as I had to in sales. So I remember that from another life, that being very, very helpful and very powerful, because then it shows that you were listening and that you cared enough to remember something about them. And honestly, even if you do need the CRM for like a little bit of help, it does remind you like, oh yeah, it was that lady that had the cat, and the cat's name is the same as my nephew. And she had the cat for 13 years and she didn't know what she was going to do because this was happening with the cat. It almost is like, it's not the only thing you remember. So don't feel like you're cheating necessarily, but it helps you to really remember the full aspect of what was going on that day, or, when you met them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have to take notes after I meet somebody because I feel like my brain is like a sieve, and so nothing stays in there. So if I don't take notes, I don't remember like the next day, let alone
Right.
a week. And so it really, really helps me to take notes and put that in. You said CRM. So I just want to say that is, I think it stands for client relationship management. Is that what CRM stands for?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So when I first heard that term CRM, I was like, oh, this is the way Donna's brain works. Oh, I need to find a CRM. So I went Googling all these CRMs, right? And up comes these super expensive ones, right? And I was like, oh my God, I can't afford a CRM. What am I going to do? Okay. But what I would say is when we say CRM, we're talking about some way to manage your connections, your client relationships. Okay. So that could be something as simple as a spreadsheet. Okay. Literally a spreadsheet with name, phone number, email, address, whatever the information is, but then have a part where you talk about something about that person so you'll remember them, whether that's their needs or whether that's that they have a cat for 13 years or whatever. But when we're talking CRM, we aren't talking about, some actual paid for CRM platform necessarily. There's so many things, and we're going to talk about a lot of those today, that you can use for this concept. But what we want to avoid is the idea of you come home from a networking event, you have a bunch of business cards, you throw them in a bowl or a pile, and they never get looked at again. That's what we're avoiding.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So you've got to choose something that you're going to actually use. And it doesn't have to be fancy, and it doesn't have to be a whole system. It just has to be something that you're going to actually use to keep track of all the people you meet while you're networking. So guess what? Of course, we have in the show notes a list of some automation tools that you may want to check out. Most we have used, but not all of them. And we're going to talk about more in this episode as well.
Yeah. I remember getting all the business cards and putting them in one of those binders with the protective sleeves where you
Oh,
slid
yeah, yeah,
in the
yeah.
business card. I
Yeah,
thought that that was going to make me really, look back at them and stuff. And it did, but I am thankful now for the digital systems where you can, even in a spreadsheet, you can search, like,
right.
oh, I
Oh,
don't know,
yeah,
his name was Kevin, or, oh, I don't know, he was a carpet cleaner. I don't know.
yeah.
Like there's easier way to find that information opposed to just flipping through all the pages of all the business cards.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, you wanna make sure that however you organize the information, that you can put it into other systems. So be able
Mhm.
to grab a CSV file of the critical
CSV,
information
yeah.
and put it into something else. Like if you're gonna use one of these automated things for email, or you're gonna use something for a mailer, or something else like a texting platform, you need to be able to have everything in a way that you can get it into a CSV file, because that's what all those things take when you upload. So like a spreadsheet, a spreadsheet can do all of that, but some methods of keeping information doesn't do that. So just keep that in mind when you start plugging things into a system, that it's something that if later on you wanted to be able to download all this information and put it into an email campaign, that you would be able to do that, because otherwise you're going to end up having to enter everything by hand, and nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, I think it's probably valuable. Do you wanna say what a CSV file is and how they would obtain a CSV file?
Well, when you have a spreadsheet and you want to upload it into a system, typically they ask for a CSV file. So when you have a spreadsheet and you go to hit, download or file save, or however you're going to save that, it'll give you options on the format of the file, and you just click CSV. And then when you go to upload it into whatever system, any system, it will ask for a CSV file. You just grab the CSV and it uploads, and boom, it has all the fields and all the things, and you can upload addresses and phone numbers and emails and all the things. So it's just a file type, kind of like PDF or JPEG, those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found them to be super helpful. I'll never forget the first time I exported an SCV file, and I was like, "What?" It just took all the names and all the phone numbers and all the everything, and then it just popped it right into the new system, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding. That was like magic." So, yeah, we want you guys to avoid copying, pasting 200 people from one system to another. But
Yeah,
here's where
yeah.
the magic really happens. It's in the notes and the reminders. So let's say that you meet someone at an event and they mention their kid just started college. If you write that down, the next time that you reach out, you can ask, how's it going? How are they liking the school? How are they liking the campus? What's their struggle? What do they like about it? All the things. It just shows that you're listening, and that's so powerful. The other thing is just like, I find so much value in somebody like the fact that we all have names. Okay. So I think that my family thinks it's weird every time we go out to eat. Like, I always know the server's name. I cannot tell you how many times that has come in beneficial for me, where like we're sitting there and my husband has asked for salt, or Hannah has asked for ranch dressing or something. And like, you can't proceed to eat the item without those things that you wanted. And so we're sitting there waiting, and I'm like, oh, would you mind grabbing our server? Her name was Rachel. And so they go grab Rachel, and Rachel comes out, and we get what we need, and we're all happy. Right. And so I find value in people having a name. So, there's like those tricks where you remember somebody's name. Sometimes I have to put that in there too, right? So, yes, stuff about them, but also how will I remember their name? And there is proof that when you physically write something, it encodes deeper in your brain. So, if you were to write that out and then transfer it to your digital system, you would retain that information more. Also, saying the person's name right after you meet them. So, yes, Donna, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Oh, yeah, I got this dress from, Ann Taylor and whatever. It was on sale and blah, 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 blah. But when you use the other person's name right away, it also helps to encode that information. So sometimes I'll write, made a mention about her dress or whatever. But that was my memory technique. Like Donna had a great dress, and D, they're both D's. And so now I know her name's Donna. So just those memory techniques that you put into place, how you're going to remember them is also helpful.
Yeah. And you're so good at remembering people's names. That is a struggle I have always had, and there's no excuse for it. But I have found through the years that if I can see their name in print, I remember it so much better. So I am a
Oh.
huge fan of name tags because when I can meet somebody, they introduce themselves and I repeat it. But then 2 seconds later, their name is out of my head. And I'm like, uh-oh. Okay, but if everybody has name tags, when I can see their name in print and see the person right there, then I am way more apt to remember it. So that's why anytime Bond and Beyond does a networking event, I am a huge fan of name tags because it just
Yes.
helps be able to, I don't know, like get it stamped into my brain better.
Well, it
So,
does remove that awkward interaction then we were like, crap, this person just told me their name and I
right?
already can't remember it.
I
And you're
know.
like, oh yeah, there's their name. Okay, oh, it's Donna. Okay, right. Donna.
Oh, yeah, it's awful, and, my husband knows that I am terrible at remembering names, so I tell him all the time, "Okay, I'm gonna introduce you, but then you have to ask their name," and so he knows that's the thing. I go, "Hey, this is my husband, Chris," and then he instantly goes, "Oh, yeah, what's your name?" Because he knows that I don't know it, like, I cannot remember somebody's name, okay? It's terrible, it's not a good thing, I don't advise it, but you gotta figure out, especially because if you're in sales, you need to figure out what is your trick? What is your way that you're going to be able to remember a name? So
Yeah.
with this CRM, putting those notes in is critical. Literally,
Yeah.
when I am holding an open house and it is busy, as
Oh
soon as
yeah.
the person leaves, I go to the sign in sheet and I make a tiny little note next to their name so I can remember something about them because I won't remember by the time I get home. If I have 10 people on
Right.
that list, by the time I get home, I don't remember who
Forget
numbers
about it.
3, 4, and 5 were. Like, I don't know. So I put a little tiny little note on my sign-in sheet as soon as they leave so that I can remember something about them. So your CRM is really important because you make these notes and you put everybody's information in there in one place, not in a pile of business cards. So it's easy to upload or transfer to another system. And you don't forget, you have to put follow-up reminders. Okay. So this is what keeps important relationships from slipping through the cracks, right?
Mhm.
Because, as we've said in previous episodes, it's super important to do a follow up message after you meet somebody. Within the first 24 hours, I would say it's best to do a follow up message. And in that, I would say a personal follow up message, not a planned, you have a template already set up and you just plug their name in follow up message, but a follow up message that's personal, that says something about the conversation you just had at the networking event, that makes them understand it's personal. So, hey, Sally, it was so great to meet you at this and such event. I loved hearing about your, hike to Kilimanjaro. I would love to see if we can connect on
Wow.
this,
You are meeting
I
some
know,
interesting people.
right?
Your
Yeah,
fictitious people are a lot more exciting than mine shopping at Aunt Taylor
I know. I don't even know where that came from.
or having a
So,
cat for 13 years.
right? They just hiked Mount Kilimanjaro. I would have been like fascinated by that because that is not anything I would ever do. But I want to in my mind, but I would never do that. So, I think that's super important. And the reason I stress that is because I get messages that I can tell are a template that they just put my name in. Hey,
Yeah.
Donna, it was so great to meet you at the da 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 event. I look forward to connecting soon. No. Okay.
No.
That doesn't make me feel like we had a valuable conversation or we connected at all. That makes me feel
No.
like you're doing a chore and I was on the
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
think it's really important that you make a meaningful personal email after the
Okay,
event.
while you are speaking, I'm having this little tagline come to me, and it is a little cheesy, but I think because it's cheesy, you will be so annoyed with it that you will remember it, okay? So here it is.
Okay. I'm so excited.
Everybody listening, I'm warning you, it's cheesy, but the fruit is in the follow-up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
I
that is
like
my
it.
contribution to this episode. The fruit is in the follow-up because that is where that relationship will really blossom and bear fruit.
100%. I love
Mhm.
that. Okay.
The
It will
fruit is in
actually
the follow-up.
become a lemon.
Now you have to tell them.
Oh my God. So I have this tree in the back of my house. Okay. And I didn't notice any fruit last year. I know nothing about fruit trees. Let's put that out there. But I noticed no fruit last year. But for whatever reason this year, I noticed these limes. They started
Limes.
growing out of this tree, and they started out small, tiny. And I was like, oh, those look like little limes. And then they got bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm talking the size of an orange, right? Like some of them are the
Yeah.
size of an orange.
Yes.
And I was like, these are the biggest limes I've ever seen. And so I felt them, and they were soft enough. So I pulled one off, cut it open. It tasted like a lime. Okay. So then I'm telling Tiffany about my lime tree because a lot of limes are coming in. And this didn't happen last year. And so I'm like, I'm going to have so many limes. What am I going to do with them? And she's like, I love limes. Oh my God. I buy limes all the time.
Share the
and I
wealth.
said, well, yeah. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to bring you some limes. So I brought her some limes and I said, tell me how like ripe they are. Cause it's really hard for me to tell when they're ripe because I don't know. And so she cuts them open. She sends me a picture. She's like, these are the limes my husband bought at the store and they're very green. And then these are your limes and they're not so green. And
They're very yellow.
I was very like, well, I thought about it obviously a lot that night because I sent her a text like hours later and I was like,
Hours.
wait,
I was like, are you still thinking about this?
So I was like, maybe the limes that you got from the store have been injected with some chemical to make them look that green. And these are real organic limes. Okay. Needless to say, the other day I opened my back door and there's this big yellow ball on the ground. And I'm like, why did some kid throw their ball over the fence? And I go over there and I pick it up. No, it's a lemon.
No.
So the tree is a lemon tree. Who knew?
Yeah.
But now I'm getting these massive lemons.
I knew.
Yeah.
So under Donna's profile, I would write, thought she had limes, but she has a lemon tree. And then I would follow up with her and make jokes and use the lemon emoji in most of my text messages to her.
Yeah, exactly. Because who knew they were lemons? But they're lemons. And now I need to figure out what I'm going to make with all these lemons because holy moly. Yeah. And I don't know. Somebody out there probably knows more than I do, but maybe lemon trees only bear fruit every so many years because there was no lemons last year. So
or maybe it was a rainier season, more sun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. Anyway, we side note. Okay, so then you need to really decide what system you want for fostering these relationships. So how often do you want to contact them? How do you want to contact them? Another thing that I think is really important when you meet somebody at a networking event is to try and connect with them on social media because that is the best reminder, right? Like when you see a post from them, it makes it easy to comment on it. That's considered a follow-up. It's a connection that they're going to see. That's a comment, not a like or a love or a thumbs up, but an actual 4 words or more comment, is something they're going to see and it's going to bring you to their mind and they're going to be like, oh yeah, that's that person I met at that event, right? So I think social media is a must. Like right after you meet somebody, as you're sending your email, you're also connecting to them on social media. And that can be an important part of the process. So maybe you have a quick little checklist of how you're going to put people into your quote unquote follow-up system. None of this has to be difficult. None of it has to be a paid for program. It just can be as simple as I'm going to send them a personal email. I'm going to connect with them on social media. And, that could be it. And then put them in your spreadsheet if that's what you're doing. Or if you have a CRM that you use, do that. Do you want to talk about the CRM that we both, I call it a CRM, that we both sort of use in a lot of different ways, which is Trello?
Yeah. So Trello is really a project management platform. So you guys may hear it that way, but you could easily turn it into your own little CRM engine. I love Trello because it helps me to have like a command central with my clients, but it's also command central for Donna and I for our networking group. And so she really manages it for the most part. I'll say what I like about it, and then maybe you can talk about how you take prospect to actively following up to becoming a member, because I know you move people between those categories a lot. The way Trello works is you get these like virtual columns, right? Let's say that's what it is. And you can just like manipulate the tasks left and right, move them around. You can color code them. So maybe I'm stealing your thunder a little bit, but I think that you should reiterate when I flip it over to you, Donna. But there's like one color is prospects, one color is okay, they're on the follow up automation, and then one color is became a member, and then our different groups. They're all different colors so that we can kind of see the difference between that. But it could be like, okay, this event, maybe you have a column for the speaker event that we had. And then you have another column for that networking event that I went to, and another column for another event that you're going to go to. And you put all your prospects in there. And then you could put who you met, things about them. And then you could slowly move that and manipulate that around. But I guess I would be interested to know how you get that into a format where you can export it as a CSV. Is that once you get them into Flowdesk, Donna?
Yeah. So that was the one thing I was going to say about Trello that is unfortunate in that you can't just download the information into a CSV and
Right.
upload it into something else.
Okay.
That's the
Either way.
downside of Trello. I use Trello obviously for our Bond and Beyond network. And I color code as people become members. And then when they are no longer members, I move them to the past member column. And based on the color of their card, I know exactly what group they were in when they were in the group. But there's a bunch of different ways you can move things around. And we have our events in there and everything. And we share the board. That's the other cool thing about Trello you can share. The coolest thing about Trello is it's free. Okay.
Yeah.
So totally
Yes.
free. When I first came back to real estate, they were talking about using Trello to manage your listings and your buying clients. And so I do because you can also create a checklist and a
Yes.
template card, so to speak.
Yes.
And so every time I get a new listing, I just click on my template and then I put in the details and then it automatically loads the checklists that I use in, following a listing from, listing to sold and all those things. And so Trello is, like you said, it is more of a business management or project management type of system, but it's free and you can go down the rabbit hole on
Oh, yeah. You can
Trello
really
templates.
customize it.
Yeah, and you can buy Trello templates from people,
Yeah.
and, you can do all kinds of things with Trello templates, but you can share them with multiple people. If you aren't familiar with Trello, it is very user-friendly, and you can use it for a million things, and I guarantee in your business you can use Trello, and you will be like, "Oh my god." So I'm a huge fan
Yes.
of and I use it in so many different ways, but the downside is that there is no way to download like a CSV file. So keep that in
But
mind.
I will say you're not gonna just put them in there and let them sit anyway.
Right.
So your next step is probably some form of email. So I would assume that there's a platform where you're putting that information in, and then that's where you can really get those CSV files.
Yeah. So as far as the Bond and Beyond network goes, with the emails as people registered as guests or registered as members, I put them into Flowdesk, which is a platform that does email automation and only email automation. I find it very user friendly. It's also very inexpensive. You probably get a theme from me. I like free and inexpensive because I don't want to spend all of my profits on systems. I don't. And
Yeah.
so Flowdesk is very inexpensive. If you use a referral code, which we'll put in show notes, you get half price on Flowdesk for a year. So it's super affordable then. But I put all the emails into Flowdesk and then you can automate workflows is what they call them, but it's basically email campaigns, or you can do one-off emails. There's so much you can do with it, but it's very user-friendly, very easy to work with. Huge fan of it. The other thing I will say is the more experienced or adventurous that you are, there are automation tools that will feed from other platforms that I know that I integrated somebody filling out a Google spreadsheet that would pop them directly into Flowdesk. So there's automation tools that can connect into Flowdesk as well. When we switched platforms for our CRM and we went to Go High Level. So Tiffany, why don't you talk about that because you're more familiar?
Yes, I'm a big fan of Go High Level. We use a white label, Stormio, that takes care of all of ours. It is everything all in one, very similar to HubSpot if you've heard of that. It does everything. So it does the website, it does a blog, it does social media, it does email automation, it does everything. So it was really nice when we had 4 different groups and we had all those people that we needed to export from Flowdesk. We just did the CSV file, we went to Go High Level, Stormio, and uploaded the information, and bam, all of our contacts were there, and we just carried on our merry way. So when you get to that point where I think when you need a CRM is when you get to the point where the spreadsheet, Trello, all those things become a big chore, a big task, and you
Uh-huh.
realize like, I think I have met my limit here. I think I need a all-in-one kind of idea. If you're not ready for like full spectrum, which honestly, you guys, I mean, it's such a dream to have everything in one place, but I get it. We're all at different levels in our businesses. There are places like Monday, Dubsado, and Honeybooks. Those are CRMs, and they have some email automation capacities as well. You just don't get the full gamut. Then you're still scheduling your social media somewhere else, or you're still doing your blog on another platform. So just things to keep in mind when you guys are looking for a CRM, but it really is these CRMs that help us to remember things. And something that we're utilizing with Bond and Beyond now is tasks within Go High Level, white labeled as Stormio, is that when the person comes into the automation, it immediately puts a task on there and says, in 1 month, ask this person XYZ, or in 2 months, send out this email, or more quickly. But it really is nice for that, and then it just pops up on your calendar, and it's like, "Hey, you've got 5 to-dos today," and it's like, "Oh, I gotta call Donna. Oh, yeah, Donna, dress. Okay, yes. Okay, I know who that is. I'm gonna call her and talk to her about has she been shopping or whatever it is." And so it's really nice for that reason as well. I mean, this world is moving at the speed of light, it feels like, and anything we can do to remind ourselves to nurture these people, these relationships, and stay top of mind is really valuable to the growth of our business.
Yeah, for sure. That's where connecting with them on social media, I think, is important because you get that reminder. Now, keep in mind that the algorithm on social media may make it where you don't see their stuff until you actually
Yes.
comment on it a few times. Then you'll start to see it. So, in those tasks or in your to do list, put that you want to comment on a social media post of theirs sometime in the next 3 weeks or whatever. So you might have to actually go seek out their profile to make a comment because the algorithm isn't showing you the stuff yet.
I
But
love that tip.
yeah, I mean, I think when you connect with them on social media, you send them an email, you connect with them on social media, you comment on their stuff a couple times, then you maybe have a conversation with them or send them a text message or whatever. You have to kind of feel it out on how into your business are they, like if they're really interested right now, right here, they want to go buy a home tomorrow. Obviously, I'm going to treat it a little bit differently. But most of my follow up is more soft pedal, more value driven, more informational for a very long time because, people need to grow that know, like, and trust with me for a long time before I expect them to do anything. So I will say that whatever your business is, what I recommend, I know this isn't a surprise, but go to ChatGPT and or Perplexity and type in, I am a real estate agent seeking a simple and budget friendly client management system, beginner oriented or user friendly or whatever your things are, and give me your top 5 and see what spits out because there may be one specific for your industry out there that fits what you're looking for precisely and it might be exciting. So, don't discount an actual CRM thinking they're all super expensive because I guarantee if you Google them right now, you're going to be like, holy moly, they're super expensive. But there are very affordable and free options out there as well. You just have to, look for them. So that's why I like ChatGPT or Perplexity to do that. We all live in a digital world. So it can be just as simple as saying, hey, Siri, remind me in 3 months to write a note to comment on Tiffany's Instagram post. And my Siri is
Right.
literally going off right now. So in 3 months, you're going to get a follow up on.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, the quote unquote system that you use doesn't have to be fancy or complicated. There's so many tech tools that we live with in our daily lives. If you have an Alexa or a
Yes.
Google Home, I mean, you just talk to her all day and she's going to take care of
Yeah.
all of this.
Well, and I want to encourage everybody, like, this does not have to take an hour. It sounds like we're saying a lot of things. These are quick little touch points, y'all. And if you can just put your responsibility cap on and remind yourself that you are going to go onto social media with the intention to make these 5 comments and then get off.
Yeah.
But you have to be disciplined.
That's
Maybe it's a Post-it note that you put right on your desktop as you're doing it. Stay focused on social media comments. I mean, because you know as well as I do that social media can suck you in. You're like,
Oh my
wait,
God.
she commented on that and they're getting married and they had a baby and oh my gosh. You're like,
Yeah.
no,
I download 5
focus,
recipes.
focus.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I forget what I was doing on social media. I was just down the rabbit trail so far.
So just stay focused if you're going to go on social media and make some of those comments, but it does not need to be a lot of time. Block off 30 minutes, do your touch bases, and then get off.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Donna, it's time to flip the switch on networking mode on. Create a simple top 20 relationship tracker, a list of 20 people you want to intentionally nurture this year. These could be collaborators, mentors, clients, or peers. Having a list in front of you helps you focus your energy on what matters most. Networking mode on.
If this episode got you thinking differently about how to strengthen your network, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you know someone who's great at meeting people but struggles to keep those connections alive, send this their way. Let's help them build the behind-the-scenes systems that make relationships last. Let's keep building these powerful links together. You've been hanging out in the Link Up Lounge, your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Now it's your turn. Go make a powerful link today.
Networking mode on.